dating generally, and we'll get to understand what dating is and what dating is not. We will get to understand what dating is and also get to understand what dating is not. We are going to also be looking at what we should be doing while dating. So we are going to be looking at all this and more. Good. Now, dating, for the purpose of a definition, if we should have a definition for dating, I would say dating is the process by which two mature members of the opposite sex get to meet and interact at a deeper level with the intention of assessing the workability of a more permanent relationship. Dating is the process by which two mature individuals, two mature members of the opposite sex gets to meet and interact at a deeper level with the intention of assessing the workability of a more permanent relationship. So from that definition, I want you to pick out quite some things there. Pick out just a few things there. You see that from that definition, you find out that we're talking about two mature individuals, two mature persons. Two mature persons are coming together, and these persons are coming together. They are members of the opposite sex. So you get to see that they are members of the opposite sex. At Smart Dating Challenge, when we talk about dating, we are talking about heterosexual relationships. We're not talking about homosexual relationships. At Smart Dating Challenge, I'm talking about the word, I'm talking about Smart Dating Challenge. When we talk about dating, we are referring to a relationship between a man and a woman. Then they begin to interact at a deeper level interaction. That means they are interacting at a level more than just what you discuss with friends. They begin to interact at a deeper level, and they are intentional. So they are not just interacting for the sake of interacting. They are interacting with an intention, and that intention is to see the workability of a more permanent relationship. So when we talk about dating, any dating without the intention of a more permanent relationship is like dating for recreational purposes. So I see it as dating abuse. I see it just like people can take drugs for recreational purposes. The same way people can date for recreational purposes. So, but that is an abuse of the privilege of dating. Dating basically is a period of building acquaintance, building friendship, and building intimacy. So look at three things here: acquaintance, friendship, and intimacy. So first, I get to know you. I get to be aware. Acquaintance is me being aware of your existence. You become aware of their existence. You begin a conversation with them. You begin a relationship with them. So they become acquaintances, right? So from acquaintances, you become friends. So it's also a period of building friendship, like you get to begin to relate with them at a deeper level. So that's friendship. It's also a period to build intimacy. Now, when we talk about intimacy, a lot of persons get to misunderstand intimacy. When we talk about intimacy, what comes to the mind of many persons is when you take off your clothes. No, but intimacy is much more than having to take off your clothes. Intimacy is about me getting to know you and you getting to know me. So, how much do you know about me? So, dating is a period of getting to reveal yourself and also getting to know the person that you are interested in. So, it's a period of acquaintance, it's a period of friendship, and it's a period of intimacy. There are people who have arguments against dating. They will tell you many reasons why dating should not be considered. And most of these arguments against dating come from the religious and the cultural standpoint. And they have very good reasons for sharing this. If you look at our culture, for instance, you get to understand that there is no culture. I don't think there's any culture, any ancient culture that has dating rooted in it. It's a very recent concept. So dating has not been part of human culture in the olden days. And many persons get to say, no, we have to go back to the ways we were living before. But before the end of this module, I'll also get to explain to you how the world that our parents lived in, the world that our grandparents lived in, differ from our own world. And because their world differ, the practices are going to differ, because what is obtainable will also differ. And that may make a good case for dating. Then, talking about the religious standpoint, you get to also see that there are reasons when people say that dating actually is not scriptural. No, that's a mind that many persons hold. Many people hold this mind that dating is scriptural, but dating actually is not scriptural. Yes, there is no scripture that permits or abhors dating. In the Bible days, dating was not even necessary. That is, if we should look at the Christian context, talking about the Christian religion, you get to find out that there is no scripture that supports or abhors dating. There is nowhere in the Bible where you will see it is written, and you shall date. And no, you don't get to date. It wasn't even necessary at the time. But right there in the Bible, I find a scripture that seems to give me a clue about dating and makes me believe that the creator, that God, will not even object to us wanting to date in our generation today. So let's see that scripture, Genesis chapter 2, verse 18 to 24. If you're not Christian, don't worry about this. Just see it as literature. But this accounts the creation story in the Christian religion. So from verse 18 of that scripture, you begin to see God said, it is not good for the man to be alone. I will make him a helper and a companion. So there is a problem here that man is alone. And the solution will be to make for him a helper and a companion. A helper and a companion. So let's see what happens immediately this was decided. Everything that is happening after now is in an attempt to find a helper and a companion. So see what happens next. In verse 19, so God formed from the dirt of the ground all the animals of the field and all the birds of the air. He brought them to the man to see what he would name them. Whatever the man called each living creature, that was its name. So going back, let's also understand from verse 18 that the problem here is that man is alone, and it is not good for man to be alone. The solution is to make him a companion. So what is happening in verse 19 is to solve the problem of a helper and a companion. Forming these creatures out of the ground, now asking him to name them, is just in a bid to find a helper and a companion. Let's see the next verse of that scripture. Verse 20 says, the man named the cattle, named the birds of the air, named the wild animals, but he didn't find a suitable companion. So he was naming these creatures because he needed to find a suitable companion. But at the end of the day, there was no suitable companion found for him. What happens next? God put the man into a deep sleep. So since we couldn't find a suitable help for him, we have to create a custom-made helper and a companion. We have to create a custom-made helper and a companion. Now, I don't know how long it took the man to name each of the creatures, but I believe that he would have spent some time with them, gotten to understand them, and he is giving them a name. He is classifying them, so to say, depending on what he has found them to be. And there was none that he called a companion. There was none that he called a helper. If he had called any of them a companion and a helper, maybe the search would have stopped there. But because there was no companion, there was still no helper found for him, the search continues. So this looks like dating to me. So see what happened in verse 21. God put the man into a deep sleep, and as he slept, he removed one of his ribs and replaced it with flesh. God then used the rib that he had taken from the man to make woman and presented her to the man. Why? So that he can also name her the way he has named every other creature. See what he said, verse 23. The man said, finally, that means he has been on this search. He has been on the search. So he said, finally, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, name her woman, for she was made from man. Yes. So you see that this looks like a dating relationship. He met one of them, he spent some time with this one, and he found that no, he based on his judgment, based on his classification, this does not look like what he is looking for. So that gives me a clue to dating from scriptures, and that tells me that God will not be unhappy if we should date in our generation. Now, God does not give us people to marry. That is one thing I found from that scripture again, that God does not give us people to marry. He gives us people to name. If you choose to call them wife or husband, then whatever you call them on earth becomes their name in heaven. Because whatever you bind here on earth will become bound in heaven, right? So, and whatever you lose here on earth will become loose in heaven. So, whatever you name here on earth becomes also named in heaven, whatever you call. So, if you spend some time with, if you go on a date with this person and you classify this person as a scammer, you classify them as a cheat, you classify them as unfit, whatever label you place on them becomes what they become to you. If you decide to classify them as husband or as wife, then they become that to you. Whatever you call them is what they will become to you. So this is what I want you to do when next you go on a date. As you meet people, I want you to engage them, I want you to relate with them, and I want you to classify them. Just the way Adam did for each of the creatures, he met them, he engaged them, and then he went ahead to classify them. I've been doing this unconsciously before now, maybe, but now you will begin to do this more consciously. You become more intentional and more conscious about engaging people, about relating with them, and about classifying them. Now, this is how you should start out. You should start out dating with a mental picture of the partner you seek. You should have a mental picture of the partner you seek. Then also, you should have the faith that your ideal partner, the partner you seek, exists, at least in the making. They may not exist in the as finished products, but they may exist in the making. They may exist as raw materials. They may exist as unfinished, and you may be part of their finishing, but you should be able to see them walking into that image that you have in your heart. Then you should also believe that if you believe that they exist, then you should believe that your paths are going to cross. So believing that your paths are going to cross will help you not to settle for less. Will help you not to settle for less. So, because the reason some persons did not meet their ideal partners is because they are dating people who are not ideal for them. Because they are dating people who are not ideal for them, they did not make space for people who are ideal for them. Because every relationship that you get into will take up space in your life. I tell people that the biggest price you are paying, the biggest cost you are running in any relationship is the opportunity cost, because the relationship that you are in right now is costing you the opportunity of being in another relationship. So if you settle with someone who is not ideal for you, guess what happens? You miss out on the opportunity of finding and relating with people who are ideal for you. But there are people who have so developed their spirits that they are able to identify their spouses even without ever meeting them in person. They'll just tell you, the spirit has told me, it's in my mind, I think this is the person. If you believe so much in yourself, you believe so much in your intuition that you can be able to spot your partner without dating, fine. You can go ahead with that. But if you are like most of us who may not trust the judgment of our intuition, or may not trust the spirit's leading in us, because so many persons have said, oh, God told me, oh, I feel it so strongly in my spirit, I love them. And after saying all that, you find that 2 months after the wedding, they are already hitting the rocks. So what happened? Did the spirit fail them? Did the spirit lie to them? Maybe they should just have dated. But if you think you can handle that, then maybe you are free to go ahead with that. So let's talk about the old world versus the new world. No, one argument that the new world that we are in right now also have a culture, and these cultures may not always agree. So we have the old world culture and we have the new world culture, that is what is obtainable now versus what was obtainable in the times of our parents and our grandparents. So see what happens. In the old world, people lived in close communities. Everyone knew everyone. People ended up marrying people that they have known almost all their life. So Mr. Okonkwo's son gets married to Mr. Okafor's daughter. These people have been in the same community. They knew the parents of the bride, have known the parents of the groom right from when he was born. They knew when the groom was born. The parents of the bride likewise also have known the parents of the the parents of the groom have also known the parents of the bride. So they have always been together. They have always known each other, and even the groom and the bride grew up together, knowing each other. So there is even no need to date, because they already know each other. The families already know each other. So there seems to be no reason for them to go about dating. But see what happens in the new world. In the new world right now, we get to marry people who we are meeting for the very first time. As communities began to expand, people got to a point where they don't even know anybody. So people began to marry from villages, like next villages, next communities. People began to marry from different places. So we got to a time when people begin to send emissaries. So we send people, go to the next community and find out what is happening there. Find out. So they will go here and ask, okay, I want to inquire about this family. Please, how do they behave? What do you think about this man's son? What do you think about him? What is happening? What do you think? So people began to send to get questions. They ask about their health condition. They ask about virtually everything, because there was a need to know the person you want to marry. There was a need to know the person that your son wants to marry. There was still a need to know the person that your daughter wants to marry. So people began to send emissaries. Since we cannot get to the point where we live together anymore, we began to send emissaries. That was like the middle between the old and the new, right? Now see what happens in the new. Now in the new world, people from totally different social, cultural, and religious backgrounds interact daily, just like we are interacting right now. They get education together, they commute together, they surf the internet and use social media together. So the probability of you marrying someone who you have known all your life is very slim right now compared to before. Right now, there are more chances that you're going to marry someone that you may never have even met in your life. I used to say that our world is growing larger and smaller at the same time. I say the world is getting larger because you can even be in the same community with someone right now and you may never have met them in your life. Both of you will behave in totally different way. Before now, you say people from this community, this is how they behave. People from that community, you can easily say this is how they behave. You can box people in. But right now, people can be from the same community and behave in totally different ways, because they even learn differently. They go to different schools. The people they interact with online are totally different. So you cannot even box people in like that anymore. So, and the world is also getting smaller, because you can be in your community right now and you're communicating with someone who is in another continent altogether. People get to meet, interact online, and get married to people that they have never met in their life, that they would never have met in their life. So the world is getting larger and smaller at the same time. Now, let me share this with you, that dating does not guarantee marital success. Yes, dating does not. It's a myth that if you date, maybe if you date, you're not going to have problems in your marriage. No. If you date, dating is not going to stop your marriage from having its own challenges. Your marriage is going to have its own challenges. So don't even think that maybe because we are dating and we're not going to have challenges. No, you are sure going to have challenges. So, but see what dating will do. Dating will increase your chances of success. But dating is not going to guarantee you success. You will increase your chances because you will get to know this person at a deeper level. You get to understand the way they think, you get to understand the way they relate, and you are going to place yourself in a position where you will make better choices also. So I tell people that dating can be skipped. So it's not compulsory that you're going to date. It's not compulsory that you're going to. Some persons have gotten married before dating and they have very good marriages. Yes, but just that the risk is high when you don't know the person you are getting married to. So, see when I think that dating can be skipped. When you meet someone based on a high powered recommendation from well trusted family members and friends. In this case, now, you don't know them directly, but you are believing that there is someone who know them and you're counting on that person's judgment. So you're handing over the responsibility to someone else to help you check them out. So it's not like you're not checking them out, but you are handing over the responsibility of checking them out to someone else. You're counting on someone else to help you make that decision. So it's not like you're not making that decision anymore, but you're just transferring that responsibility to someone else and you're trusting them. So that's just it. And another time when I think that you may not consider dating is when you have known each other closely for a very long time in a relationship with a different focus. Maybe you have been working in the same office, maybe you've been attending school together, maybe you've just been together in the same community somehow, and you think that you know this person enough, you know their family enough, you understand everything about them. Maybe you've even counseled them and they have counseled you about your relationships in the past. And now you think that both of you have known each other enough that you should pursue a more permanent relationship with each other. Then maybe you should just go ahead and get married. But see, let me still clear this myth and let you know that no matter how long you have dated someone, no matter how long you have known them, things change. The before marriage and after marriage are totally different worlds. You're still going to have surprises, just that you will have fewer surprises compared to someone who is getting married to someone that they have never known. So why should you date? Is there a reason you should date? Why do I encourage you to consider dating? Number one, dating gives you the opportunity to meet and connect with a variety of prospective partners. So you're not just rushing into the waiting arms of the first person that seems to like you. I tell people that rushing into the waiting arms of the first person that seems to like you is not necessarily love. It could be coming from a place of your insecurity because you feel that you're not loved enough. So the first person that just pops up, you hug the person. But see what Adam did. The first animal that was presented to him, he did not accept. In fact, they kept presenting until he has named all of them, and there was none that suited him. He asked for more. He asked for next person, please. And a custom-made companion, a custom-made help was brought to him. But guess what? He still had challenges to face with that custom-made help that was brought to him. So that tells you that dating is not even going to guarantee that you're not going to have challenges in your marriage. But dating gives you the opportunity to meet and connect with a variety of prospective partners. So next, dating will help you develop relational and communication skills that will improve your efficiency in marriage, life, and business. So someone says, what if we date and we don't get married? Yeah, people date and they find out that, maybe there's nothing in this for me. I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe I should leave. But something happens because no relationship leaves you the same. Every relationship is going to change something in your life. So dating them may begin to make you understand people better, make you understand how people think, how perspective can be different, how two different persons can have different perspective about the same thing. So, and it will help you, maybe not even in your marriage, but in your business, in your life generally, and also in your marriage, in the next person you're going to marry. You may now begin to understand why they think differently from you, because you see that even the person you dated before also thought differently, and five persons can be in the same room looking at the same thing and seeing totally different images. That said, dating will also help you get to know your partner enough to be able to make an informed decision to marry them. So when you stand there on your wedding day and you are making those vows and you are saying that you are taking them permanently till death do you part. A lot of persons are now clamoring that the idea of death do us part should be taken out of marriages. But the original concept of marriage is that it's going to be a permanent one, because broken people are getting into marriage and making mistakes that are almost ruining their lives, and they want to jump out of these mistakes rather than trying to fix the problem, which is the way they enter relationships. They want to change the rule. They say no, it should no longer be permanent. But marriages were meant to be permanent right from the beginning. So dating helps you to get to know your partner enough to be able to make an informed decision. Now, you don't just decide, okay, I want to marry them because I feel this way. But you know them enough to be able to make an informed decision. So you are entering this, you're making those vows consciously, knowing that yes, I am into this and I want to be in this forever. Somebody will say, what if after making the vows, getting to know them, I found surprises? At least you did your due diligence to get to know them. Then dating gives you the opportunity to reveal yourself to your partner. Yes, this one is a very big one for me personally. When I wanted to get married, I knew that there are parts of me that were really very difficult for people to relate with. People really found it difficult to get along with me. So one thing I wanted was to get married to someone who knew me, someone who understood me, someone who will find it easy to relate with me and to understand my excesses. Not because I didn't want to change, but because sometimes change does not come as easy as we want them to come. Sometimes it will take time, it will take a process for you to be able to make some adjustments. So I wanted someone who knew and accepted me and had faith in me that I was going to keep on improving. So dating gives you the opportunity to reveal yourself to your partner, so that not just you making an informed decision, they are also making an informed decision. They are entering this knowing you. They're not entering to find out surprises about you, and they will be asking for a divorce. So apart from getting to know them, you also want them to get to know you. Dating will also help you transition smoothly from strangers to life partners. So you will be able to transform smoothly from being total strangers to being life partners. Then, what should you be doing while dating? What should your dating period be like? Talk, talk, talk. You get to talk, you get to share, you get to have conversations. I always say that every relationship is a conversation. When you lose the conversation, you lose the person. So dating should be a time to talk. You get to talk about everything you can think about. Whatever comes to your mind, ask questions. Get their perspective about this. How do they see this? Did they grow up? What is their family setting like? Just talk. Get to converse. As you talk, you reveal yourself, and as you talk, you get to also get to know them. So you also take the opportunity to reveal yourself. Then you intentionally get to know them. You intentionally get to know them. Get to know as much you can know about them as possible. It's not necessarily a time to wake up in the morning and take off your clothes and get everything messy. No, but it's a time to get to talk, intentionally reveal yourself, and intentionally get to know the person that you want to pursue a permanent relationship with. Wow, I think we have come a very long way. Thank you for being here all through this. Thank you for seeing this to this point. And I really look forward to seeing you in module 2.